So this area right over here, where your indigo chakra and your violet chakra come together. So there's this area right over here with your physical anatomy where there's like a little bone. It's called your atlas bone, interestingly enough. And your skull, it's like a little pivot. So this is energetic anatomy. These are energy vortexes, and they are very, very close to where that little atlas bone is at the very, very top of your neck. And this is important because now we're going to talk about the activity of actual sun gazing. But when you do sun gazing, you have energy that comes up from the earth or from the world of matter. And when you envision that energy pathway, you're envisioning it as coming from your pelvis upward towards your pineal gland. But then also you have energy that is coming from the higher dimensional, less dense realms up here and coming into you from the world of pure light. So this magical thing that happens at the center of your mind is a blending of two viewpoints or two realities or two energy vectors, one of which comes from the world of flesh, cellular, physical, rocky planet, matter, and one of which comes from the world of light, of pure consciousness, the sun and the stars. And they both arrive into the epicenter of your mind and blend together in order to nourish you and give you your viewpoint of reality. That is what sun gazing is. So when you sun gaze, let's draw the sun. So you've got the sun over here and it emits light. And let's say here's light, here's a beam of light, and the beam of light is going like this. And then what you have to do is create your tendril of attention. So here's your tendril of attention that reaches outward from this blue vortex, and it kind of goes like this around the light. It is a partnership. So when I do just getting tan, I just lay out in the sun. And I was telling you, it's where I got my ideas from my comic book. Like I'm out in the sun, I'm drinking my coffee, I'm getting some good sunlight on my body. And I just got these ideas because I was like thinking about all the things that I've been through with my various different battles. And I was like, well, that would be really funny if I wrote that as a comic book. And I was like, I should write that as a comic book. This is what I'm talking about. This is what the experience feels like because you're self talking to self. I am the sun and I am Aurora. And I was in a moment of introspection, thinking about my life as Aurora and being illuminated by the sun. And the sun was like, yeah, self, you should really write a funny comic book all about that experience that I experienced. And then I did. And then I sent it out to you guys. And then you guys, as the sun, read and experienced the inspirational, end result of what the sun and this form of the sun called Aurora created in order to share with you. You are all the sun. I am the sun, and the sun is the sun. It is the ultimate of levels of embracing sophisticated truth to recognize that. You are not unevolved primal human, like, an animal skin wearing a Flintstone, some unevolved Flintstone barefoot person eating giant brontosaurus ribs and thinking that the sun is alive. How silly. I mean, we all know the sun is a dead nuclear furnace. This is like the modern scientific technologist. But no, you are all modern primal humans who are decolonizing your physical bodies, taking away the projections and limitations of living in a civilized world, and restoring your natural cellular structures and energetic pathways to the point that you can actually reclaim your identity as true humans and connect with the sun all the time in order to receive nourishment and guidance and sustenance and to stay alive. Okay? So let's talk about what sun gazing is. It is an action, actually a little bit more active and focused than just laying in the sun and sunbathing. So when you do sun gazing, you are going to sit in a posture similar to this. If you can't sit comfortably with your legs folded underneath you like a pretzel, sit in a chair or you can stand. But key point is having your spine erect. And key point is facing or addressing the sun. Sun should be in front of you so that way your tendril of awareness reaches out to the sun and you absorb it through here. So the first thing is place your tongue on the roof of your mouth. That is important because there is a connection made from your throat chakra to your area of insight when you do that. And you can experiment on placing your tongue either more forward towards your teeth or further back towards your palate. Do what's comfortable for your body, but make that connection. And it is also important to be nonverbal. So you're not going to be talking, you're flapping of your moving mouth parts, and you're not going to be talking up here or at the level of intellect in your solar plexus. All right. The key point is to imagine and envision that you have a connection from the base of your spine to the planet, because you are getting energy from the planet and the world of matter and the world of physicality. And you are also getting energy from the sun and the stars and the world of pure consciousness. So the first thing is your anchor or your root system, like a plant. Plants have a taproot that goes down into the earth. Every single plant has an energy root that actually goes into the core of earth. So even if you have a plant that is like in a little, like, whatever, like in a little container like this, and the root is really only 2 inches long, but it has an energy root that can be miles long, that goes down to the core of earth. You envision that you have a similar root that goes all the way down to the core of earth. It is analogous to the core of matter, which would be at the center of every single piece of matter or atom, or at the center of every single one of the nuclei of your cells. So the envisionment for your mind is epicenter, center of the planet, center of an atom, center of your cells, deepest inner level. You get energy from there because that's an infinity point or a singularity, doorway to infinity. All right. You also get energy from the complement, which is the world of pure light, the sun, the stars, the world of plasma, or the world of hyper-energized, hyper-organized matter, to the point that it straddles the definition of what we would define as matter. It's really not matter anymore. It is a world of pure energy. So the sun is made of plasma, and plasma is a form of matter that is almost on the threshold of not being matter anymore. Plasma is superheated gas to the point where the atoms and molecules that make up the gas are no longer wedded and bonded to their electrons. Okay, so the first thing is sunlight is emitted like this. And you put your tongue on the roof of your mouth and you reach out with your tendril of attention from the center of your forehead and you connect with the sun, all right? Where does the sunlight go? It goes into your pineal gland. So I'm making little dots to show it goes into your pineal gland. And this is light body in your physical anatomy. Then your pineal gland is kind of like a disco ball, but kind of like a big, giant, faceted crystal disco ball. And what it does is it reflects or refracts all of that amazing, beautiful light kind of like all around. And it sends it all throughout your body to your mitochondria. And those are subcellular organelles that are found mostly in muscle tissue, but are also very, very much in the neurons of the brain and the neuron system. And so all of this light comes from the sun to your pineal gland and then gets reflected out to the mitochondria in exactly the same way that energy in the macroscopic world comes from the galactic center to the sun and then from the sun to you. So the galactic center, sun, you. Pineal gland is galactic center to mitochondria, which are miniature suns, to rest of the body, which is you. These are patterns and templates you will see reflected fractally throughout the organization of different scales of reality. And now we're going to work with the esoteric energy pattern from the sun through your pineal gland, which is the connection of your violet chakra and your indigo chakra to this spot right here, okay? So it actually swirls inward to there. And then from there, where does it go? It swirls around through your throat. Then it swirls through your heart. Then it swirls through your intellect. Then it swirls through your emotions. And then it swirls through your root chakra. And that's not the end of the swirlage. That's the one direction of swirling from the sun to your physical body. Then you send that energy from your physical body back through your emotional body, back through your intellectual body, back through your heart, through your authenticity, and through your insight, and through your DNA and your connection to the above, back to the sun. Of course, there are many, many layers in that journey, but the simplified journey is galactic center to the sun, and then from the sun to you, swirling through you. And then that is not the end of the journey. From you, swirling back upward and then back to the sun. That last part, where you swirl upward and go back to the sun, that's one of the most important things to comprehend. The error in human expectations has been that you, like a baby bird, sit here with your mouth open, and then the sun just puts stuff into you. Like, here's some worms. Like, no. You are supposed to take that energy and internalize it and then reflect back or send it back. And you send it back as a cognitive event. This is the act of sungazing. Sending back that cognitive event is the rapport with the sun. So that the sun is actually receiving the information of what it is like to look out through your eyes and experience life through your first person viewpoint. And then in receiving back that information, the sun can fine-tune, fix, and improve the reality structures that it is upholding and creating for you. So every morning when I get up and I do my sun gazing, I'm pretty much talking to the sun and I'm saying, hi, I'm a piece of you and I'm Aurora and here's what's going on in my life. And the sun is like, thanks for telling me who you are and what the F is going on with you. Here's a bunch of light codes or directives for what you're going to be doing today. And I'm like a baby bird. I'm like, yum. Give me worms. That was so yummy. Thank you, sun. And then what I do is send back my experience of receiving that directive. And I do that in the moment of sun gazing, but I do that throughout my whole day. I am trying to be connected to the sun throughout my whole entire day, to greater or lesser extents, because I will tell you, I have to do things that disconnect me from the sun a lot. And sometimes those things are verbal, or typing, or having to do my taxes. To synopsize, certain activities connect you to the sun. Activities that make your heart sing. Those are activities that connect you to the sun, because literally when your heart is singing, that means that you are optimizing the fluid dynamics of the four chambers of your heart. And there's these waves that are called a rip curl, that at a certain time, it goes like this, and then it goes like this, and there's like this perfect little area in there, like a perfect little empty space. That is a perfect example of vortex fluid dynamics. And when your heart is healthy and your emotions are in balance, your heart sings. You have all these perfect rip curls in your heart. And you feel like, oh, this is awesome. I could go for forever. So like when I'm doing something like one of these, like art projects, I'm like so happy. I'm like cutting, gluing, listening to music, doing fun things, watching educational videos. I'm like, I could do this all day. And I'm totally in my solar presence, connecting to the sun. And the sun is living through my senses and is like, that's a piece of me down there named Aurora. And she's really having so much fun cutting out shapes with scissors, which I do have so much fun with that. But then there was yesterday where I had to do all of my silly tax stuff. The sun was like, this is weird. I'm not hearing anything from Aurora. I guess she's not doing anything very fun or fulfilling down there. And it was true. And then I did do my sun gazing at night. And I'm like, okay, sun, here's what I had to go through today. Stupid taxes. And the sun was like, oh, that's what was going on today. So I need to demo how we do our sun gazing. So I don't usually narrate. What I do is sit or stand in a relaxed way so that my spine is erect, put my tongue on the roof of my mouth. And then what I do is an energetic motion with my willpower that is a drawing inward. From my pelvis and my legs, I draw energy upward and inward from the earth. Imagine whatever, a well, or like the energy of sap of trees that comes from the roots up, roots up, roots up into my heart. And at the same time, while I address the sun, I draw energy inward through my forehead and into that place where my skull and my spine come together. When I address the sun, sometimes I look at the sun with my eyesight, but sometimes I squint so that I'm only looking through my eyelashes. Or perfect is sun gazing through trees. And that's what I do here. So there's the beautiful foliage of the tree going like this while the sun is rising behind it. That is optimum, because we need to have a filter. The filter is the lens of your pineal gland and your Christ consciousness protective force field. But the protective lens is also Earth's stratosphere and the protective force fields of the plants that the light is filtering through. So these are all Christ. Let's say them again. Earth's higher atmosphere, the stratosphere. Plants' protective force fields. Your own energy protective lens. Your own protective force field that prevents you from being overwhelmed. So to contrast, when I do sunbathing, I just kind of lay out in the sun, like, oh, like I'm so relaxed and so luxurious. And I, whatever, lay down horizontally and just let the sun flow on my skin. It feels wonderful. But sun gazing is like eating. You actively chew and swallow. So when you are sun gazing, you are actively absorbing light. And you absorb it not only through optical light through your physical eyes, but also non-optical light through your mind. And did I forget to comment today? Elon Musk, I don't like you. And your 5G emitting Starlink satellite system is a consciousness reduction nightmare force field that I do not consent to and that needs to be removed from the atmosphere immediately. Satellites have made it very, very difficult for anybody who's living on this planet to reach up and out and connect with the sun and the stars. The satellites are not for the convenience of telecommunications. They are for the convenience of consciousness reduction. It takes an absolute expert black belt of consciousness to be able to make any level of solar and stellar connection these days. So please know that. And it's absolutely worth it to do everything you can to sun gaze, even amidst non-ideal circumstances, because even if you're starving, even like a few calories is going to have a huge impact on you. And if you're really starved for inspiration and cellular renewal, even just a little bit of light is really going to have a positive impact. So keep up with your efforts. Here's how you do sun gazing. You address the sun, connect to the earth, connect to pure matter on an internal level, and draw that energy upward from earth. But then also you send out your tendril of attention to the sun and you start to draw energy from the sun. Envision it coming into you or feel it like when you have a fishing line, like you draw it into you. As I draw it into me, I really do feel a substance that is palpable coming into my mind, coming down my throat, coming through my heart, and then coming into here. This is my belly. This is below my navel. And that is in Asia what they call your hara or your ara. It is like a cauldron. And that's why I like to sit with my legs crossed like a pretzel, because it makes your lap kind of shaped like a bowl. And you have to envision your pelvis as a container for sunlight and for joy. And as you drink in the sun, gather energy from the earth, you are filling up your cauldron. And the more that you bring energy into you, like a glass of water, the level of your energy starts to rise. There is a spontaneous movement that reminds me of the motion of a sunflower. Here, my nose is pointing forward, but my nose will tilt and will be pointed upward like this. And what that means is that I'm going to be looking at this vortex, this violet vortex. That is really my vortex into the next dimension, my connection to God and higher consciousness, the portal to infinity that is at the center of my DNA. That is what I end up tilting at 90-degree angles to look into and through. And when I do that, I also do something with my tendril of attention that I call a slam dunk. It goes like up, 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 jumps up above the basket, and then smooshes the basketball through the basketball hoop. And that is what you do with your tendril of attention when you are sending the energy back to the sun. So you absorb, ingest, energy comes to you, yum, 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 full, 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 filling you up, filling you up, filling you up. And then critically, when it gets up to here, your chin will tilt up. And that's kind of like when Michael Jordan's catching some air, and then your tendril will reach the sun and go kapow. Here's all my energy, slam dunk, all right? First, I'm drawing that energy into me and I'm narrating it, but you have to imagine that I have my tongue on the roof of my mouth, drawing that energy into me, drawing it from the earth and from the sun. As I'm drawing that energy into me, I'm also feeling that expanding bubble come up, up, up. Okay, so here I am through my heart. And I'll do this over a couple of moments, like sucking in more of the beautiful solar milkshake. And then I get to this point. Here's what I'm talking about. So here, my chin tilts up. And then there's the slam dunk. So it's like my chin tilts up, 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 slam dunk with my tendril of attention. And then sometimes I'm still hungry and I want another serving. And you do as much as you need to until you are satisfied, fulfilled, or satiated. So what does that feel like also? Because usually what happens is I'm sun gazing and I get a sense of like fulfillment, or sometimes I have an aha moment. So the past 5 years aside, because it's been such a distorted time, but sometimes I would be like, oh, like I would sun gaze, go outside, like outside of my studio in Woodstock, sun gaze. And then I would be like, oh, wow, I just got the best idea. I would run inside to my sketchbook and I would be like, I have to draw this right now. Like I would get so many immediate and very directives, like either an image of something that I had to draw or explore or know about. And also, when I was originally developing the curriculum that I'm sharing with you here in this class, I got it all from sun gazing. So sun gazing is not unidirectional, it's multidirectional. And you not only receive directives from the sun, but you also speak your requests to the sun. And believe me, I talk to the sun all the time. And I'm like, hey, some stupid idiot named Elon Musk is putting up all these Starlink sky poops. Can you please help us? That is slam dunk. You understand? So some of what we're doing is communicating our desires and requirements for optimized life. Refinery of consciousness, refinery of timelines. We're in the dream of the sun. And somehow the sun dreamed up this stupid guy named Elon Musk who pooped out a bunch of satellites that are making it very hard for me to hear the sun. And I'm talking to the sun and I'm like, do you think you can do something about this character within your own dream who's doing such naughty things to the atmosphere and the Christ consciousness of this planet? The sun needs to know about it, definitely. And also, I've had a lot of disappointment with my communications with the sun because I'm sometimes like, Cosmic Complaints Department, like things are not going very well down here. You think you want to do something about it? And the answer was nothing happened. Then sometimes I'm like, well, I cannot wait any longer. I am going to have to fly in lasagna and do something, not wait around for the sun. And that was actually pretty much my trajectory post 2021 of how I needed to do all this stuff. The offshoot of this is to comprehend that when you are sun gazing, you are in a collaborative and co-creative, love-making or generative process with the sun. The sun is yourself. The sun is representative of a higher level of perfected consciousness, but the sun is not infallible and the sun is not omniscient. So when we talk about the religious ideation of the Son of God, the words omnipotent, omniscient, and infallible are applied. And that is very disappointing when you're talking with the sun, who is an artist that is still figuring things out, and life is a work in progress. But also you should have partnership and collaboration between you and the sun, because it is the sun's responsibility to do this. Not 100% the sun take the wheel, I do nothing, but also not 100% you do it all on your own, because the sun is a contributor. Partnership. What you really need to do is a restoration of the balanced partnership between yourself and the sun. And that also responds to the earth and the sun having a beautiful balanced partnership. Can't see that painting that perfectly, but that's what that painting is about. You have the earth splitting apart virtually to reveal the flying rainbow lasagna. The earth's toroidal energy field turns into flying rainbow lasagna. And all of this is on the backdrop, or with the connection to the sun and the sun's solar disk, or the consciousness playing field of the sun. So flying rainbow lasagna is happening on this planet. This planet is a consciousness art project of the sun. Therefore, flying rainbow lasagna is happening within the mind or the dream of the sun. The sun is like, the world is pretty screwed up. What if I dreamed into existence something, let me grab the lasagna, something that can fix things? What if I dreamed into existence something that could fix things, like a lasagna? The cosmos augments itself by necessity. It wasn't just the sun dreaming up or envisioning or imagining the spontaneous creation of a lasagna as a solution to what needed to be improved and ameliorated. It's the whole reality structure. Everything in the cosmos is like, stuff is imperiled, things are not going well, we must change trajectory if we want to keep on existing. I'm going to have to do something. Time to invent lasagna. And I, at the same moment, was like, if I don't do something, I'm not going to exist either. I'd better lasagna. And I also could see the shells of consciousness, all fractals of reality, all having the similar realizations at the same time, like, do something, innovate now, or you're not going to still be around to be able to do these things. So your moments of eating physical food are times of rapport with the sun and powerful times for reality creation. Treat your meals as sacred, your physical food, because that is part of how you create and generate a better world. Your times of sun gazing are also sacred. They are powerful moments when you can generate a better world. The sun has a rapport with you where you are reciprocal equals, even though you have different levels of awareness and different levels of responsibility, but you are equals and you have to collaborate and work together. So it's not enough to simply dump your cares and concerns to the sun and then be like, blah, blah, blah is wrong, fix it. You have to be like, blah, blah, blah is wrong. We need to fix it together. Got it?